Your story is waiting for you today. Your story has something new to say. But your story will only come out to play when you're alone. Alone. Alone in a room with invisible people.
The following episode may contain swearing. Alone in a Room with Invisible People is brought to you by hollyswritingclasses.com. If you find value in what we do and you'd like to support the podcast, go to ko-fi.com. That's ko-fi.com/alone. Or you can go to alonewithinvisiblepeople.com/support us to find out more. Thank you. Hi, I'm Rebecca Gallardo, the host of Alone in a Room with Invisible People. I'm here with author and teacher Holly Lyle, and today's topic is something that you guys have been asking for, partially because you've been wanting more worksheets, and also a few of you guys have asked about this. So we are doing a 30-minute world building workshop. Holly put this together over last week, and we're very excited about it. So before we go into the topic, though, we're going to discuss our last couple of weeks because we did have 2 weeks off. I don't know, Holly, if you're doing 1 week or two, but I'm definitely doing 2.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So we're starting with me. Okay.
Yeah, we always start with you.
All right. Yeah. I haven't had enough coffee yet this morning, so give me a little, just elbow room here to get my head going, because damn. So the previous week I did great. I got about 6,000 words on my fiction. I got a bunch of stuff done on the How to Write a Novel bonus, but it's still not done. And this week, and that was all in the Ohio novel, which, oh God, I'm so excited about. And last week I got less. I got about 2,000 words on the Ohio novel, which was about, I wanted 6. So that was, so I was about 4,000 words short last week.
But you did get words, though.
I did.
But last week was just a rough.
Oh my God,
week.
Last week was brutal. And there's exciting stuff going on, and it's good stuff, but it has just been absolutely chaotic to my work, and it's going to get worse before it gets better, which makes my participation in the summer of fiction writing problematic at best. I have been showing up when I can, but we are just neck deep in chaos, and we're going to be underwater in chaos for a little while, and I'm tired.
But I think this is perfect because it shows people that you can still get stuff done. You might not reach that goal that you had, that big goal, but you still show people like, hey, I can still get shit done even though we're doing so and so.
Yeah, well, and I did. I got button share every single day that I was supposed to have button share. I got words every single day. I got work done on my revision. Actually, I got 9 chapters done on my revision last week, so that was a significant step. Yeah, that was a big deal, because prior to that, I had I had done it wrong, and so I reprinted the first part of the manuscript, and I started back in again, and I'm doing it the right way this time, which is the accelerated version of how to revise your novel.
So it's the 7-day.
Pretty much. It's okay. Kind of like that. It's not either. It's just the process.
Yeah, because it's going to take you more than 7 days.
Oh God, yeah. Because this is the 7-day revision is after you have already revised once and you get back stuff from your editor, and your editor says, okay, we need these changes and we need it by this date for you to get this big author slot. So it was designed for a pretty specific situation, but there are things that even if you're doing the first revision through, you can do to speed it up a whole lot. So that's my example for this. And aside from that, it has been a very good couple of weeks, but oh my God, I'm so tired.
Yeah, and you put together the worksheet that we're doing today.
Yeah, so. I did that too. I forgot. Yeah.
Yeah. So my 2 weeks, I got my language, the base of my language done, the foundation, which is many, many, many pages, and like physical pages written down in the little binder that I have, and then many more words in Scrivener. I have no idea. Okay, so like in your how to create a language course, you talk about Alaskans having multiple words for snow, or at least the indigenous people in the area, the Inuits, right? They have multiple words for snow. And I always thought that was so cool. So I'm working on this and working on this, and then I write down magic, and then I write down, well, there's this kind of magic, and then there's that kind of magic, and then I go on and on and on and on and on and on, and I right now I don't even have the finished number of words for magic, but while I was writing, like I finished the page and I kept going back to it, and by about the third time that I had gone back to the page to write another kind of magic down, I was like, oh my god, it's like snow.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Where there's this kind of snow that will carry your weight as you walk across it, and there's a different kind of snow that's powdery, and there's a kind of snow that's sticky and that you can make stuff and build stuff with, and there's a kind of snow that covers stuff that's underneath that if you step on it, it will kill you. And
yeah, and that is when there is snow. For like when snow is your life, it's not just snow.
right.
You have to be able to communicate what it is that you want that particular snow for. So it's the same thing with magic with Fulton Hills. Magic is a huge part of that world, and it isn't just magic. There's specific kinds of magic that you would use in specific situations. There's specific conditions which limit you, and you have to use a specific kind of magic because of those limitations. So that was an interesting find when I was building up the language. Then also last week I did get into the culture building. So I started into the culture clinic, and what's cool is as you work on your culture, it's like a hand in hand kind of thing, because as I was working on the language, you come up with these different concepts, and they don't have terms in English, and that's like kind of the whole point of one of the parts of how to create a language clinic. And it teaches you like okay, you can turn these things into concepts. So I did that, and then I also came up with a whole bunch of ideas for the culture because of certain ways that certain words they have certain terms and stuff. So I would write and find out more about my culture, which was fascinating. And then as I'm going through the culture clinic, I'm coming up with new words. So it's really, really neat because I did the first culture vignette, which you are supposed to do about a culture in the real world. I was like, fuck it, that's boring. I'm gonna do my NoHo. But I ended up doing, I don't know if I don't think I've talked about this with anybody but you yet. But I have the Nahoro Odsara is my Indian, my Native American, my indigenous people, because apparently they're different ones like to be called a different thing.
Right.
The NoHo like to be called NoHo. So the Nahoro Otsara is my, Native American indigenous people culture. The Yaktaknuk came in from them. They were a pacifist tribe that was being taken over by other tribes out in, the land that were moving in on their territory. And they were pacifists, and they would not fight, and they were getting slaughtered. So they ran across the NoHo and asked them for basically safety and protection. And so they brought them in, and all of this history is going to be, in their little bits and pieces eventually. But they brought them in. So the cultural vignette turned out to be a Nuk instead of just a NoHo. It was like the NoHo Nuk. So that was neat because I wasn't intending that. And I found out some stuff about like how, because I already had like their dialogue and stuff.
Oh, cool.
because of the language. But I don't know. I won't keep going on about this because I could go on about it forever. Like last week when we had the week off for my birthday, I talked to Mom for like an hour, if not more, just about the language and the culture and stuff. And yeah, I could go on forever.
Oh yeah, and
nobody
we're
wants
both
that.
nerds on this, but this shit is so addictive.
Yeah. I have to say, like, when I had started to create the Where language in 2006, I think, I was doing it more out of like an obligation, kind of, because to me they would have their own language, but I never really got into it. I didn't get that far into it. I didn't, get nerdy into it. But with this, because it's Fulton Hills, I completely and utterly lost myself in this language. Like, I want somebody else to be able to speak it so that we can speak it together. I want other people to be able to speak like I want it to be a real language. I want us all to talk in this, and I just fucking love this shit. And if you haven't done it before, it might not sound that fun, but it is amazing, and it really does do what you say in the clinic, where it brings you closer to your people. It creates a kind of intimacy with these fictional people that adds another depth to what you understand about them, and it's amazing.
Yeah. Well, I think the thing that most people don't realize is that language defines culture, and it defines what people are capable of thinking, and so it limits and it expands based on concepts that can only exist in that language because those are the people who thought of it. It's oh my god.
What we'll have to do is, if you guys are interested in us doing like a mini on a language, or even just a full episode or whatever on language, and I can share some of mine, you can share some of yours, what you have, and just let us know, and we'll do an episode on language, because we could talk about this forever.
Oh yeah. As we demonstrated.
I did really want to say though, that last week I got jack shit done, because, it was supposed to have Tuesday and Wednesday off to spend time with my husband. I figured we were going to go do a natural lazy river that's 3 hours away that has like manatees and turtles and occasional dolphins and shit. I figured that was probably it. Nope. And he wasn't even going to tell me until I had people arriving at the house, but I kind of would have noticed when we had to empty out the den and tear up the floor. I'd be like, I wonder what we're doing. So my husband, I have been bitching and complaining because of all of my rescue animals. I've had some accidents on the floor. And when you have cats, they barf and all of this good stuff. So I've had this nasty freaking carpet forever, and he, for my birthday, finally bought me tile, and he spent more than he should have, because he bought all matching tile instead of us using the tile that my friends gave us. He bought all this beautiful matching tile for the den and the dining room. And then my friends show up, and Brian, the one who made the t-shirt for us, the Paper People Suck, he showed up, his wife showed up, and a friend of ours, Grizzly, he's a fellow biker, he showed up, and we all just freaking worked, basically, for like, Brian was there every single day, and Brandy and Grizzly showed up a couple of the days, and I think it was like 3 or 4 days total that we were all just working on this freaking place. I mean, it was a lot of work.
But you learned how to lay tile. That's so cool.
Yeah, and Brian made sure that I laid tile in each of the rooms, and Tony let me screw in the wood to replace the damage, because we had water damage as well in the floor. And it was like the carpet, when we pulled it up, we found out that the carpet was literally the only thing keeping us from falling in.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it was really bad. We had really bad water damage. And the water damage was just from a leaking pipe that was just old.
Yeah.
But I now have a beautiful, amazing new tile floor. And if you are following me on Instagram or Facebook, I am sorry for the tile spam, but it happens.
You are the only person on the planet who has ever committed tile spam.
I doubt it. But no, I definitely am tile spamming people. I know they're tired of seeing it. Last night I did like 2. And also, last night, I'm sitting down, hear a cat barf, stand up, see that it's on my tile floor, and I throw my arms in the air and I go, yes! Because I have to be the only person that's ever been happy that a cat barfed. Because it was on the tile floor and it's like, bitch, easy cleanup. Sucka. Best birthday gift. Yeah, so I had to tile spam the podcast as well. And just, I have to say, I had an amazing time because my friends made laying tile fun. I know I had a blast. I feel bad for Brian because he did like 90% of the tiles.
Aww.
And Tony was just up and down cutting tile, running around. And Brandy and I did all the grouting, and she laid a couple, like some of the tile too. So, I mean, I had a blast with them. They made laying tile fun.
That's friends, though, man.
Yeah. Yeah. And those aren't just friends. That's like Brandy said, like, we're family. You're stuck with me. You're stuck with us, whether you like it or not. And it's like, if they showed up on their days off to do physical labor.
Yeah.
Really, really pretty intense physical labor. Yeah, they're good people.
Yeah. No shit.
So
That's
I had
awesome.
an amazing birthday. And it was a lot of work, but it was a lot of fun. So yeah, let's get into this 30-minute world building workshop before I talk more about my new tile. And make this the tile podcast.
or more about language building.
Yes.
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 Okay.
What we are going to do is Holly has done her language. Or, good Lord, see, I'm stuck on language. Holly has done her world building for her Ohio series. I have done nothing because we wanted to do it where one person has an idea for their world building and they do the 30-minute building workshop, and then one person has zero idea and they build from scratch.
Yeah, so
But
she's going to be doing hers live.
Yeah, we might cut down some of the time that the silence where I'm waiting. We will cut down the silence where you're waiting for me to finish writing ideas down or whatever. But
yeah.
but yeah, you guys, Holly is going to read the intro.
Yes.
So yeah,
Right.
to the worksheet.
Right. Okay, and the worksheet is on the Alone in a Room with Invisible People.
alonewithinvisiblepeople.com.
Yeah.
It is free. You don't have to put in an email. You don't have to give us some sort of blood sacrifice. You just go to the website, go to the link, and it will be right there
Right.
to download for free.
Right. And download for free, and you can share for free. You can't sell it, but you can share it. So
Yeah.
Okay, and the reason I am reading the intro is that I know that there are some people who are not going to want to do the worksheets. They're just going to want to play along with us as we do this. But so what I said in the intro is important, so I want to read it now, okay? And it is this. The world, the real world, just as it is right now, is an amazing, fascinating, weird place full of still unknown number of species you have never seen, people you can't understand because of language, culture, religion, or way of life, and places unlike any place you've ever been. So why, if the world remains full of wonders, does so much fiction lack any sense of wonder, of excitement, amazement, disbelief, or surprise? Simple answer. Most writers take write what you know to the brutal extreme of write only what you know well in the exact situation in which you know it because it's already happened. Fiction is not reporting what is. Fiction is asking, what if? and then following what if into places you would not dare go in the real world. Writing fiction that will enchant your reader first demands that it enchant you. So, this is a quick, lightweight tour through how you build places that create a sense of wonder that will enchant you as you write. Onward.
Very cool. I love that. When I read that, I was like, hell yeah. Sorry, that's me copying Henry Zabrowski from last podcast on the left. I was like, metal. I'm a dork. Yeah, that's how dorky we are as writers, is that I'm reading that and I'm thinking, metal. Hardcore, that's awesome. But it's not. It's like, it's just, I guess you get passionate about different things being different person.
Yeah.
And again, I'll bring up Brian. We were talking this weekend, or my brain is just mush when it comes to days right now. We were talking this week, and he was telling me about these stories he wrote, and everything he would say, I would like, oh my god, that's so sad, or oh, that was about this person. He's like, no, I just made it up. He does that thing naturally, where he goes to places where you wouldn't want your brain to go. So he not only writes about stuff that never happened and that he never dealt with, but then he brings it to places where you wouldn't want it to do. And I find like that can be very difficult for people. A lot of people that want to be writers, or a lot of people that are writers, don't do that kind of thing. And it can be very hard.
Yeah. And some do it automatically. Matt does it automatically. He lives in the worst case scenario. Yeah. He can always extrapolate to how bad could this be, and then how could it be worse. And
yeah, well, I mean, if people read your books, they see that.
Yeah, I do that too.
The Lost in Space remake that came on Netflix, they definitely did that. They definitely did a very good job of, especially during that first episode, it's like, holy shit, what the fuck else is gonna go wrong? Holy crap. And I personally do have a little bit of a problem with that. I have to find myself, I really do struggle with creating that next obstacle. So I think that maybe we can do an episode on that as well, if people are interested. Just kind of talk about, I know we've talked about conflict in the past, but maybe that's something that people would like to hear and we can talk about as a mini.
Yeah, creating better conflict. I think that's a really good idea.
Well, I think we've already done that.
Extrapolating to the worst case scenario, perhaps.
Yeah, like how to make things worse for your characters continuously. Like how to be a bad person but a great writer.
That's a pretty good title. We should use that. How to be a bad person but a great writer.
Yeah, we'll use that. Okay, so let's get into this workshop.
Okay, so let me go through the logic behind the worksheets here. First, keeping elements of the way the real world works allows you to create fiction that feels real and livable. That is, the doors work, gravity works, things like this. If you have things that people understand and people know, it grounds them into the fiction. The next thing is that making small changes and extrapolating the effects of those changes allows you to create relatable, compelling, I could be there, or I could be that character, rather, magic. And I'm not talking about writing fiction here. I'm not talking about writing fantasy here, where there is actual magic. The magic that I am referring to is this connection between you and your reader, where the reader goes, oh, I could be that character. I understand how, if this worked that way, that could be me, and it pulls the reader into the story. It makes it understandable that you could live in this world with these little changes that still change everything. And finally, this process is the opposite of what I call Swiss Army knife superpowers, where you have, Superman is the perfect example of of the Swiss Army knife superpower. He can fly. He has laser beam eyes. He's bulletproof. He has kryptonite was something I think they threw in at the last minute just to give him sort of a semi weakness, and even that, he can move back time by flying backwards around the world really fast. To go back and save Lois Lane. There is nothing he can't do. And that sucks. That makes him a horrible, horrible character. Batman, on the other hand, has no superpowers whatsoever. He has his money is his superpower. Money and a guy with really good tech skills. So Batman gets his ass kicked routinely, gets hurt. I love Batman. I have loved Batman since I was 6 years old, but we'll move into that to another time. Batman, especially in the Dark Knight series, is constantly getting hurt, constantly getting beat up, constantly just having shit happen to him and getting clobbered. And his tech keeps him alive, but things just keep getting worse and worse and worse and worse until he drags his way, claws his way out of trouble an inch at a time, bleeding and bruised and hurt and in pain, and he still wins. And my God, when Batman wins, you go, yeah, he earned it.
Yeah.
And that's what you're looking for, is you want your character to earn the win. And to earn the win, you have to kick the shit out of your character multiple times in horrible, terrible, mean ways before that character gets to win. And then it isn't a magic win. It is, in spite of magic that works against the character uses skill and intelligence and just damn persistence to claw through everything to save whatever, to save their love, to save the world, to save the cat, to save what matters to them.
It's usually saving Gotham.
Yeah, well,
for Batman.
Yeah, in Batman's case, it's usually saving Gotham.
See, my question and my problem with this is, like, even watching The Flash or The Green Arrow or Batman, it's like, why the fuck do people live in these cities?
Yeah.
Just fucking move.
Yeah.
Don't live in Star City or Starling City. Don't live in Gotham. Don't live in Central City.
Yeah,
just
sure as shit don't live in Metropolis.
No. Yeah. Get the hell out of there. Good Lord. Okay. So let's get into the first part of the worksheet.
Okay, so worksheet page 1. The question that we are going to ask first is, what 3 things act the same in your world as in this world? This is places, people, creatures, physics. Anything is fair game. You have to find 3 important things in your world, the world you are building, that act the same as in this real world right here, right now. Okay?
Okay. And because I knew the first question and the second question, because I looked at them last night, I didn't think of anything until you started talking about Batman, and I just wrote them down because I've heard the Batman thing since I was little.
Yes. Seriously, I am a big Batman groupie.
Yeah. Well, I definitely didn't have Adam West on my wall.
Oh, well,
but I had
no.
Michael Keaton on my wall. I had Val Kilmer on my wall.
Yeah.
So I still have that Val Kilmer poster.
Yeah, well, I just loved the Dark Knights comics.
My 3 is weather. So, like, I have all 4 seasons. I have day, night. Those are regular. Currency still works the same. Money and trade.
Okay.
And relationships. So, like, love, hate, friends, etc. Those 3 still work the same.
All right.
Now, I mean, are those good? Or are those not?
Sure.
I don't know.
Yeah, those are fine. Okay, so give me your first one again.
Weather.
Okay. Weather is good because weather creates limitations. You can have tornadoes and
Yep.
Volcanoes and storm, ice and snow and
yeah, because they have all 4 seasons and they have day and night, so it's not like Alaska where you have so many days of nothing but day and then so many days but nothing of night.
Yeah, so yeah, but when you're that far north, you do have long nights during the winter, and you do have long days during the summer. So that's a nice thing. Okay, so what I've got for the first one is the whole world, visible to and lived in by most people, is mundane and today. No magic, no surprises. And I am doing this from my Ohio novels, the Ohio series that I am building right now. So this is really important. That for almost everybody, almost everywhere, the world you see where you are right now is all that anybody thinks there actually is. Okay, and then are you ready to do your action example for weather?
What you didn't mention an action example.
Okay,
Sorry.
that's the second part of the question, which is okay. You give an action example, and I will give you an action example.
Yeah.
For the whole world visible to, lived in by most people, is mundane and today. No magic, no surprises. My action example of that is folks shop at Walmart or at the mall. They go to jobs they love or hate. They're born, they live their entire lives and die, never seeing anything they can't explain, in quotation marks, or explain away.
Yeah. Yeah, like a lot of people explain ghost stuff away.
Explain away.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
My example was like they have all 4 seasons, so they have summer, winter, spring, and fall, because not all places do. Mm-hmm. You know, Florida, Georgia, technically we don't really have a winter so much as a fall, or we'll have a very short winter, and we have a very long summer and a long spring.
Yeah.
They have day and night, so it's not like Alaska. Mm-hmm. It's we do have longer summers, or longer days during the summer and longer nights during the winter, but that's, it's, and again, this is just from scratch, so I'm working with weather as in more North Carolina-ish weather than where I am right now.
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess we have to do an action example for the number 2 as well, right? Mm-hmm.
While I am giving my number 2 thing, what was your number 2 question or answer, rather?
Currency. So money and trade.
Money and trade work. Okay. While you are writing down your action example for how that matters, I am going to say that people have ordinary jobs and ordinary technology. And my action example for that is this. Computers work. The internet exists. Cars are the primary means of transportation in the area in Ohio. People go to work, they return home, they flop on the couch to watch TV. They have cell phones and computers.
Okay. Mine is that people still have jobs, they work for money, they use money to purchase things or services, and people trade their services for things or other services. So it's very simple.
Mm-hmm. My third one is small towns in flyover states are mocked by people in densely populated urban areas and on the coasts. And this is something that if you grew up in Ohio, or if you grew up in the Midwest anywhere, or down south anywhere that is not a big urban area, you are used to being, if you live in a small town, the butt of jokes from people who are from the city. However, my action example of this is that populations pour out from the center to coastal cities and the south to warmer regions, which we're seeing, in the real world right now. People are moving from the north to the south, and they're moving west to the coast or east to the coast. And the areas in the center of the country are becoming somewhat less densely populated as people migrate. So that is my third kind of real world example. Okay, what's yours?
Mine was relationships. So, people fall in love, they fall out of love, they hate, they fight, they have friends, they hang out and just do stuff like friends do. I mean, it's just the relationships always, they still have that base where they work the same.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Now, once we have determined the things in our fictional world that are primary and essential and that work the same way in our fictional world as they work in the real world. Now we're going to find 3 things that work differently. And the question here is, what if 3 things act differently in your world than in this world? This is, again, places, people, creatures, physics. Anything is fair game. Okay? And while Becky is writing down her first one, and probably her second and third ones, and then figuring out her extrapolations later, I'm going to give you my first one. And my first one is, what if small holds magic that big cannot? And my example for this is transfer and trade magic requires a low population density and a stable environment over a long period of time to establish secure trade routes and not break the magic. Okay, that is my rule 1. Okay, Becca, where are you on this?
Okay, so I've got, I actually got all 3 of mine done.
Oh, you kick ass.
Yeah, because I started figuring them out a little bit earlier. So magic surges through weekly at first, but the world, the issue is that would come with this world is that it starts getting a little bit faster.
Okay.
And it starts surging daily. But
so when you meant weekly, you did not mean WEAKLY. You meant
No.
WEEKLY.
yes, yeah.
Wow, okay.
Every week. So magic, there is a magic that surges through the world every week. That is their normal, and then I added the conflict that it's going to start surging through every day.
Ooh.
You don't know what's going on.
Ooh, pulsing magic. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have your example? Okay.
Well, show me your example.
Okay, my example on that was transfer and trade magic. My overall was small holds magic that big cannot.
Right.
And
But we have to do an action example for that.
Well, it's an example. Okay, I guess weekly actually is a pretty good example.
I was going to say, because I mean, it kind of shows through. Plus, my second one works with my second and my third works with the first one.
Okay, all right.
They all kind of tie in.
Okay, so my second what if is, what if old construction is magic friendly and new construction isn't? My example of that is knob and tube electric, which is basically 2-wire electric, versus 3-wire systems, lathe and plaster, old wood and plaster versus sheetrock, brick, stone, or wood versus concrete, where the things that the ways that people built houses in the past differ vastly from the way things are built now. And the construction materials then were natural materials, and the construction materials now have a lot of new manufactured things like plastics in them and stuff that people have made that just didn't grow in the world.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, my 2 is technology is different because it doesn't always work because of the magic surges. So an example is just like because at first everybody knows when the magic surge comes in, they would know to shut off all the breakers in their house, because somebody who might move in and not know about the magic surges, everything in their house is going to fry.
Oh.
Or if they're on the cell phone, it'll start going wonky. Or if they're listening to, some kind of satellite radio or something, it's going to start getting really creepy. I think the creepiness might be really, really cool.
Oh, that would be
maybe
awesome.
Yeah, maybe they can hear voices from other dimensions, or maybe they can hear the voices of the dead or something like that.
I am
maybe
listening to the radio in your world.
Yeah. Maybe it's just like if not everything blows, but maybe during the magic surges, if somebody's watching like a TV or they're on their computer, maybe the dead start talking to them through it, or the dead people show up, or they turn it into like if they're looking in oh man, I'm getting really excited about this now.
Oh my God, so am I. This is cool. This is
Yeah.
creepy as shit, but it's cool.
Yeah, I didn't mean to make it about dead people, but everything with me is always cryptids and ghosts, and that's, yeah, it started.
Yeah, Magic Surge. Wow, that's damn. Okay. So my third one is, what if reality includes the whole rest of the universe and a handful of our folks connect to that? And my example for that is, for the last 3,000 years, humans have been trading with people from other worlds, other realities, in real time, in person, without ever going anywhere. And I have established, not in the worksheet, the way that they do that.
That's cool. That's cool, because I know that you've got a lot of trading going on with the dead grandmother when she was alive. But,
Right.
Mine was, oddly enough, it was also a trade, and I didn't even look at your shit. I didn't even look at your stuff, but I mentioned like money and trade still works, but I wanted to add a twist on that.
Okay.
So people trade down services, magic services. So when the power surge comes in, people have learned how to basically kind of collect, like, charge batteries. So they've learned how to charge things, and they either use their own magic abilities for other people and use that as trade, or they will trade the magic that they have charged for other things.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so magic itself, it becomes kind of a part of the currency. The regular currency still works, but magic is a part of that.
That is absolutely cool. I love
Damn
that.
it, now I want to write shit in this fucking world. And I was like, no, it's not Fulton Hills, but...
Well, but it's associated. Let me try that again. It's associated with Fulton Hills, and you can certainly bring in people from it and put them into the Fulton Hills stories, because there's
Yeah, I'm
going
going to use this in maybe Nuda or Crystal Falls.
Yeah.
I'm gonna so I was building from scratch, but I really like the idea of the technology with the dead.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The technology of the dead.
Well, the technology that the magic surges turns into a way for the dead to talk and or haunt the living.
Oh, that is seriously creepy. I love it. I
Yes.
wouldn't want to ever live in your world.
No.
And I would kind of like to live in mine.
Okay, so
Okay.
what's the next part?
Okay, so we're now on to the third page of the worksheets. And the question here is, why do the elements that act differently in your world act that way? Now we're giving examples, okay? So my example one relates back to my example one question, which was, what if small towns hold magic that big towns cannot? Okay, my example is, establishing trade connections requires deep ground, lack of environmental variance, and permanent surroundings. At bare minimum, a basement and 100 years. And the town that this is set in has houses that have been there since the 1880s. And it has the houses have basements. They're built up on high ground. It's a town that has been there for a really long time in U.S. by U.S. standards. Okay, you know,
Yeah.
now you guys over in England, I understand. You know, you are
Yeah, we got a
mocking
lot
at
of
the
UK.
idea, the
Yes.
idea of the 100-year-old house, but around here, you know, that's deep ground for us.
Yeah, when my Aussie friend came and visited, she's like, I want to see like some of the old stuff, because, you know, America, you got all these old things. I'm like, girl, no, we're the same as Australia.
Yeah.
You know, you guys have been around about the same amount of time as us.
Yeah, well, you know, East Coast a little longer, but, you know, those of
Yeah.
us in the middle, not so much.
But not much. You know, it's
Right.
honestly, we have not been here that much longer than Australia.
Right.
Not long enough to be, it's like, you want to see that shit, go to England. you know?
Exactly. Yeah.
I that is one of the places where I really want to visit in my life, just because.
Me too. Always have. my whole life.
Yeah, but we're different. I want to go to the haunted areas.
Yeah, well, you're crazy.
Okay, so what am I supposed to come up with for magic surges through weekly?
Okay, you are just answering the question, why does it do this? What about your world creates magic surges? Okay, so this is where you're making shit up. This is big time MSU.
Okay, well, we've already established that Fulton Hills has a magic leaking problem. So what I'm going to have for whatever town, it's probably going to be Nuda or Crystal Falls, whatever town that I have that is dealing with these surges is going to be, I think, butted up against a natural mineral or something that acts as a natural barrier to the magic. So the magic is so strong that it's building up against the barrier, but once it overflows, it creates that surge.
Oh, nice. So something is increasing the amount of magic, which is causing the surges to pulse out faster.
Eventually, yes. And what I think is going to happen is we'll have to I have to establish in Fulton Hills why the magic starts increasing, because it does do that in Fulton Hills. So eventually, we'll figure out what's going on there. But because it is, and again, it's leaking. And this is actually helping me figure out the end of the series as well, which I have always kind of wondered how this is going to work out. But because obviously they want to stop the magic from leaking. But
that's a weird
yes.
kind of toxic waste.
It is. But I do like the idea of there being a natural mineral that stops the magic, and so that this place is dealing with the surges coming through, and then there's that just increase where it's coming through daily, and then so
okay, I just want to clarify what you're doing in my head. So you're looking at maybe something valuable in the current world that's maybe being mined out of the ground or something, and as it's being removed, the barrier is decreased, or
no.
Okay.
So there is just some kind of natural. So I'm studying minerals right now. I'm studying crystals and rocks and stuff for the magic in Fulton Hills. Anyway.
Okay.
So that's why my mind goes to this. And so there is just a natural kind of, it's like the tectonic plates there, in our underground.
Right.
And in Fulton Hills, they have these areas and it's just in Fulton Hills. It's not in the entire Fulton County. But they have these basically like big circles of areas that have a specific kind of magic that is stronger in that area, which I've mentioned before.
Right.
And so that is normal, but the magic is also leaking. So these other towns are basically dealing with different kinds of magic leaking out and create it, and it, since it doesn't have the same basic structure as Fulton Hills, it creates different effects. It creates different cryptids. It creates different magic effects. So the one magic effect in this smaller town is going to have to be surges, because they have this barrier where they originally no one else was dealing with magic. And then it started leaking and everybody was dealing with magic except for this town. And then this town started getting the surges of magic. And it would have been maybe like once a month. And then now it's, for a regular amount of time, it's been weekly. Because it just, there is something that is holding the magic at bay. But then the magic just is too much. And it gets through the barrier and they have that surge.
Okay, cool. So it's not that the barriers are being eroded in any way. It's just
No.
that the amount of magic is increasing.
Yeah.
Okay,
like
cool.
a tide.
Cool. Gotcha.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so then I guess that takes me to my second example. And the second question was, what if old construction is magic friendly and new construction isn't? Okay, my example for number 2 is man-made construction materials contain compounds not found in nature. These compounds can be briefly in contact with the trade environment, but over extended times would erode the magic.
Okay, so this is asking why again?
Yeah, and this is how I explain how can they trade between worlds, these different things that these different products that these worlds make, but the houses can't be made of these products. And that's how, is that you can briefly send these things through the trade gateways, but
Only if it's in an old house.
only if it's in an old house, in stable ground. And so this is basically, you're looking at basements in places that have not changed for about 100 years. Longer would be better. I'm sure England has some of these places that it has older and better established trades, but Ohio has a really good one now.
So for me, the technology is different. It doesn't always work because of the magic surges. So it wouldn't just be ghosts that talk, but because they deal with this very limited opportunity to catch magic, the technology would also, so like everybody knows when the magic is coming, like what day, but they don't know exactly what time because it's not always exactly at the same time. But I'm gonna assume that the why is because of this overpowering, it's like a tsunami of magic once a week that comes through, and anytime you're caught within this tsunami that goes through, and I'm gonna say it's probably a really slow moving tsunami, so it probably lasts a couple of hours.
Ooh.
So yeah, there are going to be different things that are around the world that don't have the opportunity to connect with the people there until the magic comes through. So that's why the ghosts are constantly trying to take that opportunity to connect to somebody. And technology, because we're always on our phones, we're always on TVs, we're always on computers, they see that as the easiest way to get somebody. Technology is such a huge part of our lives now that they're going to try to flicker lights at somebody. They're going to try to talk to them out of maybe a fan that's blowing, or any technology at all. So the old timers know to just turn off all the breakers.
Yeah, and the noobs are talking on their cell phone, and suddenly they're talking to dead people.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I cannot wait to read this.
Yeah, I'm excited too.
All right. Okay. So my third one, my third question was, what if reality includes the whole rest of the universe and a handful of our folks can connect to that? So example 3 is the why behind that. Trade is dangerous but profitable. Trade goods include ideas, simple tools, foods, textiles, art, music, products with no moving parts. No working complex technology is permitted to be traded, and this is a hard, fast rule, because technology can, traders have discovered, have disruptive effects that can come back to eat them.
That sucks.
Yeah, so nobody is trading computers over this ancient trade route. Nobody is trading high science. They are trading things that can be made with technology, but they cannot be things with moving parts. No cell phones are going across the trades. No bicycles are going across the trades, because you don't know how somebody is going to use a bicycle in another world and derive some sort of scientific principle from that mechanized thing to create a machine to come in and take over your world.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ah, so this is
So
safety purposes. That's
yeah,
cool.
exactly. So no moving parts. Okay, your turn.
Okay, so the why behind people trading services like for magic. So like maybe the old timers wouldn't necessarily want to use magic themselves because they see this slow moving tsunami of magic as a dangerous thing, but magic in this world can also do a lot of good. It can do a lot of evil, but it can do a lot of good. So a lot of people might want to trade services for or money for somebody to come and do a blessing on their house, or maybe somebody has a real problem with the ghosts and they want a cleansing, so and also the idea of somebody not being able to do magic in this world without the surge, without the quote battery of magical power, that would probably be like gold in this world. It would probably be like diamonds in this world. So somebody who has the people who have found a way to charge items and have those be magic would also probably be targets for thieves. But I'm going to assume that it's not too hard to charge these things. You just have to figure out how. So this is stuff that I just have to figure out in my head.
Right.
But that's a writer's job.
Right.
It's always how to figure shit out in your head. But I'm assuming that the barrier keeps the regular magic at bay. But if you have these charged items, then you have that limited ability to do things. So maybe they can go and communicate with that ghost that keeps trying to pop up and bother somebody and figure out what the fuck is wrong and get it to release itself to the next plane of existence, whatever that is.
Yes.
Or, because my NoHo believe that in reincarnation. So maybe the NoHo or the Nux that have moved out of Fulton Hills during the problems, the conflicts that happened there, maybe they're the ones that are doing the charging, and they're the ones that are trying to help,
Nice.
figure shit out in this area. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm very excited about. I know I keep saying that, but this was cool. I was actually coming in here just to do an absolute from scratch, has nothing to do with anything, and it still ended up being for another part of Fulton Hills.
Yeah.
So yeah. Is there more to this workshop or no?
We've got one more answer on this, and then
Sorry for the noises, guys. That's my rats in the background.
let me. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Trade is dangerous. Yeah. Okay. So then, how do you use these examples? How do you use these differences to bring wonder into your story? Because the best thing a writer can bring to fiction is that sense of wonder, that sense of this is a part of the world, a part of life that I have never seen as a reader, and I am stepping into this thing and going, wow. Okay, this is your wow factor. So, how can you use these differences to bring wonder into your story? And my example number 1 for how, which was, okay, again, let me get my sheets back in front of me. It was the small towns hold, or small holds magic that big cannot. Okay, so what my example of how I can use this is I can show the traders and the trades. I can show the art of the deal and how it can backfire. I can introduce the magic of places unimaginable to my character and bring her into contact with people she could never have imagined. And I do that fairly early in the book, and I have a lot of fun with doing it. So this is something that I have already done, is this part of this story. So go ahead.
Okay, so the magic surging through, I would start it off in the book as a weekly thing, I think, still, just the regular thing. And I would have somebody in there who maybe is visiting family for, health reasons or something like that. Or maybe they're just new. Maybe they just moved in. And they don't understand what's going on. They're going to step out and everybody's lights are off, and they're going to be like confused because hell, maybe the power just goes out. Maybe the city shuts off the power during that time. But I mean, I would think that this is more of a libertarian town. The one that I'm thinking of, they're very you do you kind of thing.
It's your responsibility. You deal with it.
Yes, that is the town that I'm thinking of. Is they have problems with the other towns around them, which I really want to place it in Nuda, because they've got a bit of an arrogance to them as well. They don't like certain people coming through their town, so it adds a lot of conflict to the area. So I think it would be better if somebody just walks out and people aren't using their cars. People aren't going to work, they aren't coming home or whatever. Their personal lights are off, and the person is on, maybe a computer, and the computer fizzes, and there is somebody looking at them on the other side of the screen, and obviously this person is no longer alive, or if they are, because they look alive, they damn well shouldn't be. Or it could be they could be just doing the cell phone, like talking to somebody outside of Nuda, and the voice changes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
something is, and I have such a sense of wonder at this right now that it's hard for me not to just say, well, duh. I mean, look, this is like, oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah, well, yeah, I really like what you've built. Man, this is awesome.
Well, I talked about my number 2 on there. That's my number 2. So I'll have to talk about the number 1 during the first one.
Okay. Okay, so my number 2 question is, what if old construction is magic friendly and new construction isn't? My example of this is just to show the beauty and wonder of small towns, old houses, little networks of people working quietly at something amazing. At this little secret in this little town that is known by the police department, a couple of librarians, the trader who is in the town, just this little group of people who need to know, who know, and this thing that they are all doing together, her network of suppliers, that are doing this amazing thing quietly and without any drama. Until drama finds them, obviously, because,
Yeah.
Yeah.
My number 1 would be the magic surges through weekly. So the way to show that would be people getting the fuck out of the town during the surge. People who don't live there, they know what time it is. They know they gotta leave. So it would suddenly become kind of a ghost town. Because Nuda is very small in the first place, but it's got a lot of trade activity. And because there are certain artisans in that area, so there would be a lot of people there normally. And for this one person who's new there, they don't know what's going on. They would also see people doing strange things, because there are people there that catch the magic. So he would see them doing these ritual things to catch the magic.
This sudden image of people running around with something like butterfly nets.
That's awesome. Not gonna happen, but that is fucking awesome. He would be like, what the fuck?
Yes.
What is this shit?
Why did I move here again?
Yes. And so there would also be, when the magic surge actually comes through, there would be physical sensations that he doesn't understand.
Cool.
And he can't find other people because they're either all the lights are off, the car's not there, they're not sure, what's going. He doesn't know if they're home. Maybe they don't answer during this time because they don't know if it's real or a fucking ghost. The undead. Or like you get these physical sensations that are just pulsing because, like I said, it takes hours for the magic to flow through. And also the other ones that are trying to catch the magic probably have to be physically doing something with their setup to channel that magic into these items to trade.
Nice.
So it basically turns into a ghost town during this magical surge, and he doesn't know what the fuck's going on.
Yeah, you can see where that would be really disturbing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so my third and final what if is what if reality includes the whole rest of the universe and a handful of our folks connect to that? And my example of that is mostly to show things going unexpectedly wrong, occasionally show some amazing wins in trade, but mostly show the coolness of trading concepts and information. And I have done a little bit of this so far. My main character has only done one trade, has had a couple of strange things happen to her in the town, one really weird one. She doesn't even know how weird yet. She only knows a little bit of what happened to her.
I'd say she's gone through a couple of weird things.
Yeah. Yeah, she has. So it's I am really, really, truly excited about this. But it is a case of how much can you make go wrong for people? How much can you drop on top of their heads? How much can you hurt them in various new and interesting ways in order to show your world working, and better yet, to show it not working the way one would hope? Okay, so what's your last one?
I really like this idea. So when he bought the property there, sorry, that's my dogs. The real estate agent told him, okay, well, you don't move in this day, you move in this day, and was very, 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 very specific. So he thought it was a little weird, like I can't just come in there early like I wanted to. The people are already out of the house. Nope, it has to be this day. So it's the day after the search, or maybe the 2 days after the search. So he gets there, I'm just going to say the day after the search, because he is so focused on moving in. He doesn't notice all the, the shit going, sorry, I bumped my mic. The stuff going on around his neighborhood. He's just moving in. So, maybe he has neighbors come over and help him, or they meet some people, and it's, it's a nice little town. And then the surge happens, and he thinks he's going crazy. And the next day, he starts seeing really weird shit. He starts seeing people, because there are certain limitations within the magic of Fulton Hills, but I haven't built the limitations within the magic of Nuda yet. So I have to figure out how the surge changes the magic. But he starts seeing stuff that should not be. He starts seeing stuff that, what the fuck did I just see? So it really does give that sense of wonder. Oh my God, my dogs. I really think that the wonder part of this would be pretty easy.
Right.
because you got a new character who's never been here before. If I go with that, and if I don't, it's still this established stuff that starts changing, because it's going to start happening every day. Right. Maybe it's going to happen, once a week, and then twice a week, and then 3 times a week, just getting quicker. And people they're caught unaware. So everybody in the fucking town starts having dead people talk to them, or fairies pop up, because I've got fairies and gnomes and all this other shit in different sections. Like Crystal Falls has werewolves, and I've already talked to you about the Glass House series has gremlins.
Yeah.
So each town has different things, and during the surge and a little bit after would be when these things are there.
Oh, so, wow.
I'm thinking the fairies are going to be little shitheads. Like we had that fat fairy in one episode that we were coming up with stuff, the fat fairy that only one person could see.
Yes.
And was fucking up her job interview.
He was a dick.
He was a dick. He was hilarious. I'm thinking I'm going to bring him back and put him in this.
Oh, that would be awesome. Almost knocked my coffee over. Okay. So I'm going to just run through a couple of little concepts here. What if contains the real world problems, most of which will really require real world solutions. The change one thing rule allows you to pursue the consequences of that change. And keeping it simple by having small changes makes it much more relatable for your readers. You always look for ways. Your world can hurt your characters, your change can backfire, your change can create new problems, your character can make mistakes, and your character can misunderstand. All of these are different ways that things can go wrong, that you can help them go wrong to make interesting conflicts. So, again, that's hurt your characters, make the changes backfire, use the changes to create new problems like your increases in the amount of magical surges going through the town. Characters making mistakes, characters not understanding what they're seeing, and so doing something understandably dumb, understandably dangerous, thinking, okay, well, I'll just do this, and then having that backfire. And having them misunderstand what they see. Hey, the power went out. That wasn't magic. That was just the power went out. No big deal. And then, the ghost comes in and sits on your couch. Things like that. I am really kind of enchanted with what you're doing with your world over there. That's pretty cool stuff. Yeah.
This was pretty cool.
So do you have anything else you want to add to that before we go to the takeaway?
No. This was pretty cool. It was more than 30 minutes for us, but if I had been doing it by myself, I think it would have fit perfectly within the 30 minutes.
Yes.
If not a little bit faster. So it just depends on how much you want to dig into your stuff. You could probably make it 15. You could probably make it 6 hours.
Yes.
It's like, how much work are you putting into this? But I think looking at what I did here, I think it was probably about 20 minutes worth of work.
There you go.
So,
yeah.
I mean, guys, free workshop, free download. Again, we don't take your email. We don't ask for your firstborn. Nothing like that. It's just go in there, click on it, and it's a download.
Yeah, it's a PDF download, and you can print it off.
At alonewithinvisiblepeople.com, you go to the download page. Okay, and we are changing the format of this show because we have these really just super long endings, and we're both tired of them, and I know that the listeners, is like, okay, the takeaway, okay, well, we're gonna, that's it, yay. So we're just not gonna do those long endings anymore. Okay, so basically, if you want to follow us on social media, we are at AIARWIP on Instagram and Twitter. We're at Alone in a Room with Invisible People on Facebook, and you can find us at alonewithinvisiblepeople.com. You can email me at show@alonewithinvisiblepeople.com, and if you want to find out more about supporting us, go to alonewithinvisiblepeople.com/support us. That'll have all of the links in there as to how to support us, how to become a part of this, but mostly just become a part of the community. Come to hollyswritingclasses.com, create a free account, you get free stuff, and then you get access to the forums where you can talk to us and be a part of us, a part of this, writing community, because not a lot of us have other writers in our lives. So that's what I want to say. So Holly, give us the takeaway.
Okay, the takeaway this week is this. Fiction is gripping, compelling, and engaging when things go wrong and your protagonist has to struggle to make things go right. So, this week, spend some time hurting your character, letting your character make mistakes, and helping your character ruin his or her life.
Yeah, be a bad person, but a good writer.
There you go.
All right. Well, thank you very much for listening. We love you guys, and I can't wait to chat with you guys in the forums. Holly?
Yes, well, we will see you soon, and thank you so much for listening, and thank you so much for just hanging out with us.